Holy shit.
Hello everyone and welcome to another one of these videos. As per usual, this one will not be scripted in any way and I will most likely just be rambling on about one of my favorite consoles of all time, the Dreamcast, the console of the year, since it's today the Dreamcast's 20th anniversary in the States. Of course, this doesn't really affect me that much considering I'm from Europe, but 9/9/99, that's the date most people actually remember. So today I thought I'd take this as a good excuse to make another Dreamcast video, because by god I have made quite a few, at least opening the games that I've bought as new. But today I will be just focusing on showing off what I have. And this collection I have is actually quite small when you compare it to those people who actually collect Dreamcast stuff. Like, there are people who probably own every single game ever released on the system. I personally only tend to collect stuff that I would like to try out, since the Dreamcast has quite a good catalog of various different kinds of games. Mostly games that are either enhanced versions of something like a PlayStation 1 game, like the Demolition Racer No Exit right there, or just completely unique and original games only on this system, many of which have never been released on any other system, which is insane because the Dreamcast has some of the best obscure, weird ass, what the fuck kind of games out there. We'll be getting to some of those later on. But one of the best things about the Dreamcast is the homebrew community. The people who are still making games for this console 20 years after its release. And almost 20 years after its... Oh, hit the camera. Cool. That's how you make a video. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there are people still making games for the Dreamcast, like almost 20 years after its cancellation. Give me a sec, I'll fix the camera. Okay, good, we're back. I'm so sorry. This is what I mean by not scripted at all. I'm clumsy, okay? So sue me. Or don't, please. No, actually don't. I don't know what you would sue me for, but don't do it. I beg of you. I need the money. I need the money to buy more Dreamcast stuff. Back to the topic. The Dreamcast. It's such a versatile console, considering there are so many weird-ass games that have been released on it. And some of them are Japanese exclusive, which is why I have a modded console that would play Japanese, US, and European games that are right there in the very edges of the screen. Because I personally would like to have as big of a catalog of games to be able to choose from. And so this here bad boy is actually the Japanese version of the console, as you can tell from the red swirly thing that is the Dreamcast logo, and from the bottom where it has the NTSC-J, meaning it's a Japanese region console. But mine is region unlocked, which means I can play all these wonderful games. I'm not sure if there are that many games that are only released in the States, but they are considerably cheaper to get it's so much cheaper to get a US version of a game than an actual European PAL version of a game. Those things can get quite expensive, but so can many US and Japanese games. They can get really expensive, and I will be getting to those as well if I remember. Again, not scripted, so I'm just rambling here and probably will forget most of the things I say at the beginning of this of this video. But again, getting back to the homebrew games on the system. I personally, even if my console is modded, I don't really like to buy pirated games, like reproductions and such. I prefer to get my games as natural as they can be. But I do own quite a few homebrew games. Homebrew games that are either games that have never been released on the Dreamcast, or games that are unique on the system and were just released after its cancellation many years later. People, like I said, people still make games for the system. Like, for example, this one, Crisis Evil, which is a Resident Evil beat-em-up made with the Beats of Rage engine. This is quite a kind of a shitty case I have it in. This is what it came in. The game itself, it's not that great, but it's a thing that I can have on the Dreamcast and play with an actual Dreamcast controller on the system itself. So that's cool. Plus, this wasn't expensive. It was like a few euros, and you can see the the CD itself. Wait, CD? This is probably printed on a CD, but didn't Dreamcast had the GD ROMs? That's their unique system. That's their unique format that they have on the system. And this one, this one actually has been printed quite shittily. It's not a very good example of a homebrew game. So I will probably point you more towards the NG dev team Fast Striker in the back there. That's in a DVD case, and you've seen this on one of my previous Dreamcast videos where I opened this. It's a homebrew Dreamcast game, which is a great thing. Actually, that game I think has been released on multiple systems, probably on the Switch. Everything is on the fucking Switch nowadays. Speaking of, if you're listening to this Nintendo, and I'm sure you are not, please port the entire Dreamcast catalog of games on the Switch, because that's what would make me buy that. Again, I'd probably still buy most of the games on the Dreamcast itself, since I have it. But it would be nice to have like a digital version of some of the games that are super expensive to get. Jesus Christ, some of them can get ridiculously expensive. But again, my collection is mostly just a crosscut of the weird and wonderful stuff that has been released on the system. stuff like Dynamite Deka, Zombie Revenge, fucking Death Crimson 2, one of the worst games ever made, or so I've heard. I will probably stream all of these at some point. It's one of my biggest plans for my Twitch channel, which by the way is twitch.tv/massdistraction. And I'm probably sure you already know that if you're watching this video. But in any case, that will be coming later on when I actually get some cable, since I apparently have lost my RCA cable, which would enable me to do that stuff. I'll need to get a new one, or at least try to find my old one. Anyway, back to the Dreamcast and its weird-ass games. Since we're here, we should probably go through at least some of the games. You have seen some of these in my previous videos, but in case you're interested what to expect from my Twitch channel, or just in general what I actually have here, let's go through some of the things in my collection.